Alright, who's ready to do the morning routine? Are you sure? Money's a renewable resource. I am all the money I need. I am what it takes to be successful. It's all inside of me. I'm aligned with the divine because I am the divine. Yeah, I know I'm walking the fine line, but that's inside your mind. I ain't self-law and master, forecaster of my own fortune. That's why I speak with caution. Idle talk makes me nauseous. If it ain't about me and mine, we decline your invitation to bad vibes. I had my share of those in the past life. Ask for now, act right, say it loud. And the greatest, tell yourself.
What's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's your man, Kevin Lloyd. I'm here for another episode of Columbus Black on Blast. And let me tell you, y'all know what we do. We highlight movers, shakers, and creators. And I'm excited about the introduction that I'm going to be making shortly. But before I go there, I want y'all to make sure y'all visit us at COLUMBUSBLACK.com. That's how you find out about all the cool stuff going on right here in the capital city. And that's where you find out about the Columbus Black on Blast episodes as well. In addition to that, if you have not downloaded the Mile app, you must download it today. That's MYLE. It stands for Make Your Life Entertaining. It allows you to find events, share events, post events, and promote events, all tied to your geolocation. So that means you know what's going on based on where you are, even when you go out of town. So make sure you download it right now. It's in the iOS store and the Google Play store, and make your life entertaining. But without further ado, it's time for me to talk a little bit more about you. And so right now I want to introduce you all to Gary Jones. He is the owner of Jones Select. And I'm going to tell you what, this brother is a mover, a shaker, and a creator. He's doing some wonderful things, not just with his business, but in the community. And I can't wait for us to be able to share that opportunity with you all to find out a little bit more about Gary. So, how you doing, man?
I'm excellent, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good to see you.
All right, good stuff. So, I appreciate the time and the opportunity for us to put you on blast.
On blast.
All right? Good stuff. So, why don't we kick it off this way? Tell us a little bit about you. Where you from, home, friends, family, all that good stuff, so people get to understand a little bit more about Gary before we get into the business.
Yeah, so born and raised here in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, nice.
My family's from here. Majority of my family went to East High School.
Okay. Shout out to East High School.
East High.
All right.
But I'm actually graduated of Independence High School.
Okay.
So played basketball, ran track there, and just so you know, our team went undefeated my senior year. No,
undefeated, right? He said. So hold up. You're not bragging. You just sharing.
Just had to let you know.
Yeah. All right.
Columbus,
that's cool.
You know, a couple names I could throw out.
Okay.
So yeah, Columbus native, man. Just always, you know, loving my city.
Okay.
From growing up, man, had some really great influences on my way up.
Awesome.
You know, uncle. Who's an engineer, architect, went to Ohio State.
Okay.
So most of my family, you know, stayed home, went to Ohio State. Pretty much roots are here. You know, both sides of my family are here.
Okay.
So everybody born and raised here.
So this is it. Columbus, Ohio is home.
This is home.
All right. Very good in the real way. Good stuff. So why don't you tell us about Jones Select, the business? Like, what is this all about?
Jones Select, man, I started in the clothing business about 15 years ago.
Okay.
And it started, honestly, just because the most influential men around me, they were black men that were taking care of their families.
Okay.
And so one was an author and a pastor. The other one was my uncle, who's an engineer, architect.
Right.
And so they provided for their family, but they always dressed well. Nice. And so, you know, when I seen them dress well, they always had a nice car. I was like, man, there's something to that. So my mom kept us in church. So funny story, my senior year, my mom wanted a nice picture. So she's like, Jones, you know, you never smile. You know, you got nice clothes, but you never wear them, because I was a lunchtime cowboy, which means I play basketball during lunch.
Okay.
And so this one particular time, because I had a suit, I wore the suit to school.
Okay.
So it was a life-changing moment, because
I'm sure.
From the time I got onto the bus, you know, I had so many comments.
I'm sure you did.
Oh, what you doing? Where you going? You know. But one of the life-changing moments was all the leadership. You know, even the principal, you know, Mr. Osborne stopped me and said, Mr. Jones. Shook my hand. And I was like, really? Mr. First time I ever heard Mr. was 17 years old.
Okay.
And then I went to class and I heard
Mr.
It had an impact.
Okay.
Then I heard Mr. Jones from a young lady, and I was like, oh, you like it too.
Wow.
So from there, I got invited to do a fashion show. So the fashion show was really just to basically get a tuxedo from a tuxedo company.
Right.
And I was gonna save money. I was working 2 jobs at the time.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I'll save some money. I get to walk out in a suit that's, you know, that's free. So I did it. And they said, hey man, here's some tickets, and as many of these you get turned in and mention your name, you'll get a discount. So I walked out. I had never forget it, I had a purple tux jacket on with black lapel, top hat and a cane.
Really? You were showing out.
Hey, yeah. So I walk out, you know, great response from everybody there. Ladies and gentlemen, felt like I was scoring a big bucket.
Okay.
You know, just crew love. It was just absolute
that thrill was
pandemonium.
there, huh?
Yeah, it was just like, man, what is this? So I wasn't really thinking fashion at the time. It was just about impact. So I started learning about personal branding and how that can really translate and really change how people view you.
Okay.
And if you think about clothing, it is the one thing that can change how you feel.
Right.
And as a black man, it's very important for us to feel good.
Absolutely.
As we go out into the world. And so it took a period of time, probably about 7 or 8 years before I really started looking at it, and I started working with a master tailor out of LA.
Okay.
And then I worked with a guy out of DC before I started my own. So I worked a third shift job.
Okay.
And when my son was born, you know, I wanted to make a difference. And I knew he was going to do what I did and not what I said. And so here I was toying with the business for 5 years, not really doing great. You know, I was just learning a ton.
Yeah.
And then I took the leap when he was born. And so he was about a year. He'll be 10 this year.
Okay.
And so I took the leap, and my first show was in Phoenix, Arizona Fashion Week.
Okay.
I designed a collection there.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah,
That was your first show.
My first show ever. I did it.
Did y'all hear that? His first show, Columbus, Ohio bred. His first show, major step.
Yes.
Was in Phoenix, Arizona.
It was in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
And I had support that flew out, and I had a couple guys that I met.
Yeah.
NBA players from somewhere else.
Okay.
And when they see my work in Arizona, they love me. And so it took that spark for people to even get into the conversation here at home.
Yeah.
And so when I started to get into the conversation at home, I did Columbus Fashion Week and Highball Halloween and all the major shows that were here. Fashion Meets Music. Any major show that was here, I've been a part of it.
That is phenomenal, man.
And so I just started kind of building my business, and I went from not having any clientele to working with executives, vice presidents, athletes, things of that nature. And so my brand just really started to evolve. And my passion for it started to evolve, especially with black professionals, because there's this huge leap and gap of our understanding from coming from neighborhood to executive to finding our place.
Right.
And so we try, my motto is stand out or fit in.
Okay.
And so if you want to stand out in the room, you want to pop your collar, you can call me. You need to fit into a segment of a population that you're not used to.
Yeah.
You call me for that too, right?
Right.
And
so
so
it depends on the spectrum, but you could fulfill within that spectrum.
Exactly. And so what I love to do and what's been excellent is that I work with growing professionals that are coming out of college and then established professionals, because they're both trying to send a branding message.
Right.
And so I just fell in love with that process of helping people and, being able to articulate through fabrics and, swatches and things to really bring out your personality. And not just being overzealous and not just throwing colors out because it's fashionable, but like what fits your personality, your color, your brand, your style, and really taking it, to the depth and educating, as well, talking about meals, cut, color, all of those types of things as well. And so I just fell in love with it, and Jones Select started to kind of get its own life and started growing.
Okay. So there's a lot we're about to talk about, because you just shared a whole bunch of information that is very enlightening, and I want the audience to have the opportunity to understand a little bit more, right? Because sometimes, so when we put you on blast, we're putting you on blast for a number of different reasons, right? We want people to know who you are. We want to help promote your business, right? So you can continue to grow and do the things that you're doing.
Right.
But what I tend to find out in these conversations with entrepreneurs like yourself is there's some adversity.
Of course.
There's some challenges that you have to deal with and overcome to get where you are today. You have become extremely successful, and it hasn't been easy. So walk us through a little bit of, you took a major leap when your son was being born. And stepped out on faith. And like you said, it was tough. Walk us through that progression, right? Like on the surface, it sounds like, okay, it just kind of happened, but it did.
Oh, no, not
right?
Right.
So help us understand a little bit more how you dealt with that adversity, overcame that adversity. Who helped? Like, how did you establish those relationships? You don't just go to Phoenix, Arizona and do a show, right? Like, keeping it real. So how did all of that really, the deep part, like this is what we call real talk? I need the real talk side.
The real talk was really that, I always was a hard worker. And I always had really good relationships with certain people. And maybe they weren't the most influential. But really, the real talk was like, I always had faith. I'm a person that grew up in faith. And so my faith in God helped a lot. And it was a lot of territory that I was like, man, I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. But as I worked that night, I hated, I'm a morning person. So a morning person working the third shift and then
painful.
And then going from there work, sleeping 2 hours and then getting up to the grind, going to Panera, talking to everybody that I could. That's how it started. And I really didn't have support, from immediate, a lot of my immediate people, like some immediate family, some immediate friends. you know, grandma and them was like, "What you doing again?"
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. That happens to a lot of people, right?
Yeah, but there was a lot of discouraging moments. But what I was passionate about and what I understood was that it was something that was impactful to me.
Right.
And so it was easy for me to not even sell, but to share.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I do, you know, it came from a place that was like genuine. And so most people could really tell I'm not trying to oversell you 15 things because I'm trying to make $1 million.
Right.
What I'm doing is sharing my experience and growing from there. But the hardship was really, you know, I wasn't making much money. I took a pay cut to work at night. But when I was, you know, doing what I did during the day, which started off ready-to-wear suits, not because most people couldn't afford, you know, my price points that I was dealing with.
Okay.
And I had to just learn that sweet spot and talk to people and work with them where they were. And through those conversations and enough of those and then shows and I start getting some publicity. Then I was like, you know what? It doesn't make sense as much for me to work at night because I'm making what I need to make during the day.
Okay.
And so when I did the show in Phoenix, you know, I quit the night job, came back, worked a part-time job at Nordstrom for a little while. And then when I did that, I had my first magazine article was coming out.
Wow.
So it was like I was getting pub. I was starting to do what I needed to do, but at the same time, there was a struggle. But I still noticed that there was a gravity of people coming towards me, and I was more polished.
Feel it. You could feel it. Yeah.
And I was way more polished than people on the floor.
Okay.
And I had tools in front of me. Like, what am I gonna do with a whole store, you know, in front of me? You know, I'm used to swatches and building this way.
Yeah.
So it was fun, you know, for an extent. To an extent, I could never work retail full time. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
So. But the hardship was really just looking on the inside and having something greater than me, having a mission bigger than me. And so that's been my goal the whole time, is to be able to say, what would have happened if somebody would have helped me sooner? And if I was a person that's in this professional space, how could I get them to the next level? Because a lot of our barriers as Black people, it really has a lot to do with just our own barriers from the inside, from what we lacked growing up, from lack of money, lack of leadership, lack of exposure.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
So if I can take away, you know, your neck size, your chest size, feeling intimidated by price point and saying, look, you feel good now.
Yeah.
Now you can just get to the skills now. Now just get to the work, which all of us know how to do. But sometimes people see you before they hear you.
Okay.
And so if I can change that messaging, it's a powerful tool.
Absolutely.
And so that's what's led me back even into the community. Some of the work you've seen me doing with the Urban League and working with from ex-offenders to people looking for jobs. I'm not chasing a paycheck. I never have been. It's just a passion of mine. And it's not just exclusive to this space, but I use this as a tool to reach people, you know, from every walk of life.
Okay. So that's pretty huge. So a couple of key things that came from that. One of them that I want to share is the piece of you having a vision or a passion. And what I want you all to understand is everybody's not always aligned with your vision or your passion. And even in some cases, they do support you, don't know how to really help you. In some cases, they may not support you. But it's a thing of your vision and your passion is your vision and your passion. This, to me, is just one of those prime examples of where you kind of knew what needed to be done and you were still learning along the way, but it's like this was your purpose. And everybody has their unique purpose. So very meaningful. Right?
It's been an interesting journey of just, you know, clothing is the one thing that touches so many people. So our clients that make $60 million and people that don't have everybody got to eat and get dressed every day.
Absolutely.
So, you know, if you get dressed, I prefer you call me. You know, but it's never been about that. And like you said, there's definitely an alignment with me just figuring out how I can utilize my gifts and, you know, how I can help bring that out. And it's always just a pleasure to be in that space. It's fun. It makes it fun. Now some days, you know, the deadlines, you know, the hardships are, you know, how do you logistically run a business that's outgrowing you? You know, how do you really get help? Because a lot of times Black people don't support each other, right? And so sometimes you got to prove yourself. And sometimes even being home is like that. Being here in Columbus, you got to prove yourself over and over again. And I'm not a name dropper, but it's like, why should I name 10 of my high-end clients? Let me just service you so we don't have to get into that. In other markets, it's crazy, you know, how fast it moves. So I think it's
I tend to let's stop for a second, because I tend to hear that on a frequent basis from a lot of people, right? Where there's this perception / reality that sometimes you have to go outside of Columbus in order to really get the support or generate the business that's needed. And you're not the first person, you won't be the last person to tell me that. So why do you think that that's the case, right? Like, let's just keep it real. Like, why?
Honestly, I think you know, the culture of Columbus is Ohio State. That's what you know, our city is known for the Buckeyes, right? And outside of that, you know, the Black culture in itself, we don't always embrace each other. And sometimes people will blame things like, well, I've had a bad experience, or, you know, but the obstacles that the average black family has to go through for them to be an entrepreneur, it's a lot harder than most people getting up to go to work, right? Now they all have their different struggles. True. Because that environment is not easy. I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but it's extremely different. Yeah. Because without support, you're not going to be able to take care of the necessities that you have from day to day. And so taking that leap takes a ton of faith, ton of passion, ton of expertise. Yes, it does. And it takes people supporting you. Yeah. And what I've learned is that, you know, even being in my space, that I'll have people that may call themselves competitors, right? That will rather target me versus the larger companies that are making $20 million because I look like them. Yeah. And I'm not thinking about them, right? But the point is that we have to learn how to overcome those obstacles and not be so toxic and understand that the world is bigger than us, right? True indeed. So the blessing is that, you know, I was in China this year and, you know, get to travel the world and, you know, I'll be in DC next, you know, and it's great, but there are people in every market that will appreciate you. And so sometimes it just means for some people it's better that you do leave. You know, and I'm raising my family here, so I'm here. Yeah. But you know, I'm appointment only, and I'm available for those people that understand
serious about
what I'm bringing to the table. And I had to learn that because I'm trying to help any and everybody. Okay. But then that doesn't always work. So I think you can't build the culture in itself. Like I support my own, and if there's anybody from here, I will always show them love and support. Absolutely. No matter whether they're athletes, whether they support me or not, wherever they go, because I'm a Columbus native. Correct. Yeah. Whether it's reciprocated is not my choice. Yeah. I can control me, right? True. I can't do anything for my culture but be who I am. Exactly. But it's the reason why I help people that are in need, because if somebody would have picked me up and helped me along the way, then I would have been even further along. So I appreciate all the people that support my business, have done and will continue to do it. And the people that don't, it's okay too. Okay. Yeah, I had to learn.
Yeah, for sure. So saying all of that, right, you have done some things to continue to help. You just talked about help. Why don't you break it down, and you said it a little bit earlier, but you didn't go in depth. What are you doing in the community to help?
Yeah, so I helped start a program called My Brother's Closet, which is run out of the Columbus Urban League. Okay. I helped set it up and actually run it, help facilitate it. And so what they do is collect clothing for men with gently used clothes. Yeah. And basically, you know, give the clothes out. So people that are looking for jobs, people that are coming from prison, they're going to go through a graduation process. And so they get free clothes and shoes. And I go in and do a fitting, and I'll do a coaching on dressing for success, and teach about sizes and things of that nature, and talk about confidence and some of the things that I share with, you know, my other clients that pay me for it. You know, I'll come in and, you know, as a consultant or a person that's giving back, you know what to do. So we just did a suit drive last week, collected about 40 suits and 30 shoes.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So, but it's all a part of it. Like, I was the person that was my first couple suits were donated for me. You know, somebody had to show me how to tie a tie. That's right. And so if we could just take those things that were barriers for us, you know, just like you don't want our kids to go through that, and just learn how to help the next person over.
That's right.
Because you never know who you helping. The person that you help today could be the person you need tomorrow.
Exactly. It's not that hard.
It's not hard. It take a little time sometimes. Yeah. You know, sometimes it could be frustrating, but, you know, like I said, I just let my passion, you know, kind of help build, you know, what I'm doing, and I don't limit it to people that always write me the biggest checks.
Yeah, how about that? We appreciate that. Yeah. Well, I have to say congratulations on all that you're doing, your success, as well as what you're doing in the community, because I think there's an awesome balance in your impacting lives, because like you said, when you can build that confidence, because the first thing is not what do I have on and what do I look like, you can get that behind you and now focus on what's most important. That's really critical. So
we can make more kings. Like, we can help, you know, we can help progress the community. And sometimes, you know, we can't do a voting all the time. You can't do it, you know, everybody's not gonna be a politician, everybody's not gonna be a lawyer, right? You know, but we can do it in our profession. And, you know, I'm blessed enough to be an entrepreneur where I have, you know, thank God, some opportunity that's been created. So I appreciate it, man.
Nice. So what's this in front of me? What is
Good
this
question, man. So we can get to the goodies now. So I laid out a few things for you. I laid out just some basic fabric, and this is kind of like, if I didn't really know where I was starting, and I wanted to just kind of give an overview of like what the custom experience is. And I didn't lay out everything because it could be overwhelming.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. We want to get into it.
But the base level is like, I laid out a couple name brands, you know, like Scabal, Huddersfield, Lord Piana, which is Italian. And these are 3 different meals, right? And so they're going to have different textures. You can have, you know, 4-season weight. You can have fall season weight. You can build a custom suit or a jacket or a shirt, all of these things. And for the professional, sometimes people really don't understand why somebody would go through the trouble of really personalize a garment.
Okay.
But what it does, it gives you more personality. The word bespoke means to be spoke of, right? So before you say something, people, again, they see you before they hear you. And why a person would invest in this aspect, and it's not always the most expensive thing you can do. You can find a lower end, but things fit you properly, they last you longer.
Okay.
And then you get a overall, if you're working with somebody that knows what they're doing, they give you an overall concept of what direction that you're doing. And that's what we do here at Jones Select. It's really just about giving you a foundational wardrobe, understanding where you go and who you're going to contact, and how I can make your job easier. Because there's times I walk in a room, whether I'm traveling or not, and people will notice my wardrobe and want to talk to me just to say, man, where did you get your suit? And
exactly.
Funny you should ask.
Yeah.
Right? But imagine that most things that are going on from entrepreneurs and business people are selling is that it's always with a conversation. Yeah. Even if it has to do with promotion as an executive, like you want people to like you, to want them engaged. And if you can start a conversation by learning your history about made to measure, where Brooks Brothers and where they came, Joseph A. Banks, where they came from, versus why we don't do as much custom as we used to, right? So things like that are extremely important in that world. So again, what I try to do is give a full experience and explanation so people understand what they're getting for their money, what their options are, good, better, best, and then I fit them, in the pocket that best fits them.
Okay. Made to measure. What's made to measure? What are you talking about?
Made to measure is based off somewhat of a pattern, right? So full bespoke is basically, it's all handmade from top to bottom. You're talking 45 measurements from top to bottom, handmade. Nice price bracket there. Your made to measure is right in the middle. You have a variety there, so you'll probably have about 15 measurements, which will be a lot better than anything off the rack. Price point is a lot more affordable. You have control over the garment, which means you can choose whether you want lapel styles, lining style. You still get control of the garment, which is what you want. You can personalize the garment.
All right. Why is all that important though? Like, what's the difference between the way something looks to me if I just get it off the rack versus
So especially for black people, since it's the audience we're talking to, most black people, the clothes aren't made for you. That's the easy part. Ready to wear is going to be a painful experience. You got to find a brand that fits you. You got to find a style that fits you, which means if you like Hugo Boss, maybe the sharp will fit you because it's slim. It's not going to fit you in the thighs and seat, right? So maybe the jacket's fine. And then some of us are longer, right? And then don't be an athlete. So if you lift weights your whole life, or you slim and tall, you're gonna be searching for a long time, and then you're only gonna get a few options. So where ready to wear is limited is that you have no control, right? So if you need a tux that fits you in a certain way, but you want it slim in a jacket and you want a full cut thigh, and you want it to hang right, it's gonna be an impossibility without spending money on alterations, right? To alter the garment on top of buying something and then looking just okay. But the people that are in the room, and what I've noticed is that successful people are very detailed. Whether it's from their work ethic, the car they drive, the place they live, and when you start to understand the different parts of the world that are a little bit more eclectic. Why people collect art and they like, opera, and people like to, travel with different foods and different clothes and fabrics. It's all a part of that conversation. It's a luxurious conversation, but it's something that you don't have to pay $1 million to be a part of. It's just about getting the education and learning where your affordability is.
Outstanding. All right, so check this out. How is the next piece, right? So how do people get in contact with you?
Great question. So jonesselect.com is where you're going to find best way to reach out. Email Gary at Jones Select. So the schedule is pretty much appointment only.
That's right.
So we try to sift and figure out what everybody needs before we sit down, because as business is growing and I'm in and out of town, I try not to waste people's time. But the best way to reach me is jonesselect.com.
Okay. All right. Y'all heard it, right? So that's how you track them down. And then the last piece is, how do we help you continue to progress and be successful? Okay. I know we kind of hit on some of it a little earlier, but if we want to be intentional as a community to help you, how do we do that?
It always comes down to support. Everybody's going to shop. They're going to look for something for the holidays, for the New Year's. And you need a little time. You can't do it like I need something tomorrow. But it does come down just coming in, talking, getting an overview of yourself, and figuring out what suits you best. I never ask for referral business until I've had the experience of talking to somebody. So I think that it's very important to have that sit down conversation. And to be able to get your own personal view of how Jones Select can help you. Okay,
that sounds good. So y'all heard it first right here from Gary Jones of Jones Select. I think I'm about to treat myself to a new suit in the very, very, very near future. Now I know how to get started. All right. So without further ado, keep this in mind, right? In order for you to understand more about your future, you need to understand your past, which is the reason why we just put Gary Jones and Jones Select on blast. All right. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Right. Has ColumbusBlack.com done anything for you?
Absolutely.
All right.
You put a spotlight on it. We talked about my business to go in depth, so I appreciate it.
All right, no doubt about it. He's officially been put on blast. All right. So, as you all know, check us out on ColumbusBlack.com. That's where you find out about all the cool things going on right here in the capital city. Don't forget to download the Mile app. That's MYLE. Make your life entertaining on the iOS or Google Play Store. Download it and truly make your life entertaining. We have to have a special shout out for our sponsor, Chapel of Peace and Marlon Gary Funeral Homes. We appreciate him helping us do what we do. So in addition to our sponsor, we want to recognize Ohio Media School for their support. And without further ado, I also want to recognize my man Cap City Nitty for all he does to make sure that we have this video coverage in the production that you're seeing right now. So check us out once again on ColumbusBlack.com. And on that note, I'm out.
I am the winner, I am a champion, I am the winner. By the first day of January, year 2020, though I may have 99 problems, none of them will be funding, ain't it funny? I know money's a renewable resource, yet I still have a manic panic every time I forget my plug is the source. The electricity is alkaline in my temple, assembled with all the best, cause all the rest could be detrimental. Learn my credentials, God body, my presence is monumental. Consequence of years in wilderness, returning to my ancestors, that's how I know. I am the greatest. I tell myself, I am the greatest. I told you so. I am the greatest. You already know. Mastermind.
Oh, it's a wonderful tribute.
For a wonderful person.
Oh, yes. She was a horrible person. She was so kind and giving. Although she borrowed my cookware and never returned it. Everything is so lovely here.
She looks so beautiful.
My God, how did they make her look so good?
Mother.
Oh, I was just admiring all the beautiful work that you do here. See, that's why I would not let my family take me to anywhere else but Marlon Gary Funeral Home, Chapel of Peace.
That's right.
That's
It's
right.
mighty fine.
Mighty fine.
Incredible.
Yes. Marlon Gary Funeral Home, Chapel of Peace.
On your way to heaven, stop by here.